Tell me about yourself. Where were you born and raised, Stan?
My name is Stanley. I was born in Thomas, Oklahoma. I'm an Okie. Oklahoma is known for sports. Number one athletic program in the country all around, OU. Growing up, Oklahoma, I'm the last of my parents' 4 children, 1976. My brothers and sisters were older than me, so, I got good at sports because they were always, beating me and everything. And I always wanted to hang out and be a part of everything. I good wrestler growing up. Oklahoma's known for its wrestling and football. I wrestled for OCAC. I won a couple state championships. Went on wrestling U.S. Nationals 3 years. Did my thing there. And just moved on into junior high,
And what was the dynamic of all you kids and growing up with your mom and dad, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that like for you guys?
Dad was a chiropractor, and I remember, and I seen pictures, and our house was the only house out in the fields, and the time I was 10, that was a big old neighborhood, we was called Pine Acres.
And so it was like rural.
Yeah.
And then got built up, was what you're saying?
Right. Back in the 80s, I saw E.T. at the theater. I think that was the best time, the universe a kid could ever experience. I don't think it'll ever be that good for anybody, and we egg and shaving creamed each other on Halloween. They let us do stuff like that. Dad had 2 boats, a fishing boat and a ski boat. Every weekend we went out to the lake. I was water skiing by the time I was probably 5 years old, and I went roller skating every Friday night and go down to the gas station and you could play arcade games. They didn't run you off, immediately say you're trespassing. You could actually hang out at a gas station, It was a good time back then.
Good. And
Christmas, I can remember sitting under the Christmas tree in the house and imagining myself in a forest. Yeah.
And so you were getting into junior high and you went to high school. What was going on in your life around in high school? What was happening?
Right, yeah, junior high, anyone would throw a thing. McDonald's back then gave you good Happy Meal toys. I got a Gizmo, I got all the Smurfs, I got all the California Raisins, and toys were cool back then, were good toys. In junior high, I'm chasing chicks, going roller skating, and I liked Halloween, going to the haunted houses, stuff like that. And the school would always have a school carnival, and I can remember winning a cake during the cakewalk. Every classroom was like a different kind of carnival ride or something that you could win. Junior high was awesome to me. I got sent to military school in the 8th grade for 1 year. It was Mexico, Missouri Military Academy.
And why was that?
Well, my parents said that it was for my schooling. I was falling behind. They said I had dyslexia. I think it was more for them to try to save their marriage. But I spent a year in military school. At the time, I didn't really appreciate it or want to be there, but looking back on it now, it was one of the best times of my life. Military school was kind of fun.
And
we had
go ahead.
We had a parade like during Halloween, somewhere around there, and all of our parents from all over the country, came to Mexico, Missouri to see us for the weekend and had a parade. And about 500 cadets. I was in the 8th grade, and we had a contest between who could keep all the cadence and everything the sergeant would tell us to do, and they would eliminate you one by one as we would mess up. And out of all them people, all the cadets, I ended up getting 2nd place. My parents were proud. Out of all they kept dissipating, and I stayed put. I think I lost that on purpose because I couldn't believe I was about to win the thing.
You got nervous.
Yeah, my parents were so proud though. It didn't matter. 2nd to them it was like 1st,
Great.
Yeah.
And then high school, you went to high school?
Yeah, high school. High school was a tough time, man. Right about then, and that was like 92, 93, 94, 95. I didn't graduate. I dropped out sophomore year.
How come?
Well, I got caught with marijuana in my locker, and somebody went and told on me, and they kicked me out, for a year. And once you're out, you get that freedom of not going to school, I guess. I I wasn't turning back. I wasn't going to go back to school the next year.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. High school at that time, they big house parties, lots of parties. It was just a party. I always wanted to be everywhere. I could not miss the parties at the lakes and everywhere at that time. My mama came to me when I was back then and said, "Why do I hang around them boys?" And I said, "Well, they're my friends." "What do you mean?" And she's like, "I don't understand why you're hanging around them." I said, "Well, I want to go to parties. I want to be a part of everything." And she said that, she said, "You don't need them chained. You don't need them at all." And I said, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I've been watching you since you was a little bitty boy. You know how to entertain yourself very well." You know, at the time, and then it clicked. I can't entertain myself. Everybody can. But yeah, Mama was a very smart lady.
Well, let's see. So, in your late teens, and your siblings are all still there at home?
No, I watched all of them move on out.
Yeah.
And watch my parents grow further and further at a distance with each other.
Yeah. And did they finally split?
Yeah. I wish they would. My father would have waited till I would have got a little older, maybe. Got me through the teen years.
They split while you were still a teenager?
Yeah, I had to go in front of a judge and choose between the two.
Yikes.
Yeah. And my brothers and sisters didn't have to do that. I had to.
Because you were still a minor, or what?
Yeah, I was, old enough, and I chose the one that I didn't want to live with.
Why?
Because the one I wanted to live with had ran out of the house and didn't take me with them. So I remember, so I only did what I was expected to do, I believe, and my father said if I don't pack my bags and go with him, then Mama would not come back to her house. So I did what I thought I was supposed to do. So when me and Dad, we left the house, and
So your dad used it as like leverage?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, and that gave him opportunity to kind of manipulate my mind and tell me things about Mama that weren't true.
Right.
Juice me up for that divorce, so I choose him so he don't have to pay child support to hurt my mother. That's all he really wanted to do was hurt her.
Yeah.
Not because Mama was going to clean him out in the divorce. He knew that. He didn't want to pay any more money than he had to.
Yeah.
So my dad told me, Mama was thinking about getting me thrown in a juvie, so that I needed to choose him, and my sister would be ready me and her to run away if the cops tried to put their handcuffs on me. All this was made up, but to me, I believed everything he said. He bought me a car right before I was to go in front of the judge, because I just turned 16 or something. And 1 week after he got custody of me and kicked me out of the house, he took that car away.
Wow. Sounds like he manipulated you pretty good.
I can remember going in front of that judge and telling him that I wanted to live with my father, but I really wanted to live with my mother. One of the hardest things I ever did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to put a kid in that situation where they have to choose a parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
That can't feel very good.
My mom showed me unconditional love, though. She seen me walking the streets, homeless, asked me what I was doing, why wasn't I at my father's house? And I told her that he had kicked me out of the house. She told me to get me in the car, and I was coming back home. And that was the greatest joy,
And you came and lived with her?
I got to go live with the one.
Let's talk about that.
One and one.
Let's talk about that real quick. So your dad eventually kicked you out of the house. How old were you?
I was 16.
16? You kicked, and you were on the streets.
1 week after he got custody of me, he kicked me out. Wow. I went to live with my mother while she was paying child support to my father. I was living with the one, and she's paying child support to the one that I'm not living with.
Yeah, it's
kind of
messy.
Yeah,
messy.
Bizarre.
Yeah, bizarre is a good
but
word
she
for it.
showed me, when I broke her heart choosing Dad, she showed me ultimate love, unconditional love. I'll never forget her for that. I love her. She's my best friend.
Nice.
She's passed on, but yeah.
That's nice.
I'm exactly like her. I've been, you say you don't want to be like them when you're young, but the one you've been watching, you got every bit of them in you.
Yeah. Well, so you went and lived with your mom for how long?
For a while, but again, I was a teenager, so I wasn't very respectful, and she threw me out of the house a few times. I'd go back, she threw me out of the house. But the best thing happened when I was like 17. I got Brandy pregnant, and we got to go tell Mom that she's going to be a grandmother, and that brought me and Mom real close.
Yeah. Changes the kids. Kids can change things like that.
Yeah, Destiny, my daughter, was awesome too.
Oh,
you know,
nice.
brought me and my mom real close.
Nice. Yes. And
You know, that was probably the best time of my life.
when you were 17.
Yeah, when Destiny was born.
Nice.
I quit trying chasing parties and stayed home on Friday night and Saturday because she'd stay at her mother's on the weekdays, and weekends was my time with Destiny.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm curious about. Destiny's how old now?
She was born in 1996.
Yeah.
How old is she?
Let's see.
She's
do that math.
27, 29, something like that.
29.
Golly.
Have you talked to her?
I ain't seen Destiny probably 7 years.
Oh, 7 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I'd like to go back to Oklahoma.
She's in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. She looks a lot like me.
Well, she might see this. You never know.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So when you're in your 20s, what's happening?
Man, 20s. I'm the only one of my my parents' children that ever went to jail. I was getting booked in. I got booked into Kingman, Arizona, probably 15 years ago, and the officer said, "You know, Mr. Hufford, you have been arrested in 11 different states." I had not known that. I didn't know that. My 20s, I was in small town Weatherford, Oklahoma, so cops know everybody, you know. So I started getting picked on a lot by them. I couldn't drive down the road without them pulling me over to check me out, you know. Oklahoma, back then, if you had a roach of marijuana, you were going to jail. Yeah, so I got arrested a few times.
Yeah.
And that pissed my mom off.
For marijuana charges?
Well, just getting arrested, period, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I was the only one out of my brothers and sisters that ever got arrested. But check it out. I'm the only one out of my brothers and sisters that know the Word of God. None of them know the Word of God. Every time I get arrested, I'd pick up the Bible and read it. I was retaining it. So through a hard time, through a rough time, something good was coming out of it. You know?
Yeah, interesting.
We're supposed to rejoice in our trials and tribulations because it builds us, gives us character, long suffering. Without struggle, and you don't grow, really.
Yeah, they are opportunities for growth.
Amen.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, you were in Arizona at some
No,
point.
Oklahoma.
But
When I got booked in, and the
Yeah,
officer told me that I had been arrested in
11 states.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you did a little bit of traveling. You got to Arizona somehow.
Yeah. And well, in my 20s, that was, in my 30s, I think. But in my 20s, somewhere around 24, I had worked for the grill pretty much for 5 years, straight. I came up here and tried to learn carpet, got bad on meth, and blew off a job. That taught me something, though, blowing off that job. When you're young, you think opportunities keep coming and coming and coming. They don't. I have not laid carpet since that day I quit that back in my 20s.
Wow.
I thought I would go back to laying carpet and learn the trade completely and be my own man with that. I never got back there. You never know, when you leave something or a place or a person, when the next time you might see them or be back there. Yeah.
Well, so when did you get to Washington?
Well, I came here, we visited my brother in '88. I came up here like 99 or something, started laying carpet, and that was that time.
That's when you quit.
Yeah, and then right then I was like, first time I ever went down to a homeless shelter, like a real homeless shelter. And my brother told me there was a shelter in Everett that, I'd burn all my bridges that I could go down there and get help. So that's what I did. And talking to the homeless people down there, I realized that people could go from town to town to town across America and stay in shelter to shelter and see America that way. And once that seed was set in my mind, that's what I did. I went all the way from here down to California, shelter, San Fran, LA, all that.
I mean, just for like the adventure and just see
the adventure.
Just to see the West Coast.
Yeah, and see the whole United States.
Okay.
I went all the way to New York City.
How'd you get there?
Then
How
Boston.
did you travel?
I did day labor. I'd have my hand out a lot.
Uh-huh.
But And people helped out a lot back then.
But you like take the bus?
Yeah, Greyhound.
Gotcha.
Greyhound ones are so expensive, as it is today. And you can do 7 days advances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of times, when I'd ask for somebody for some help or have my sign, people would ask, well, what do you really need? And I'd tell them a Greyhound ticket. There you go.
And they get it for you.
Yeah. Once I was in that town, I stayed in a lot of motels back then.
Yeah.
It was like 30, 40 bucks for Motel 6, That, anybody can come up with that pretty quick back then. Nowadays, it's a lot harder.
Any stories stick out to you from your travels?
I was in a shelter in Oklahoma City. I had tons of stories, but Carnival had showed up and wanted to know if anybody wanted to join the Carney. And I did. I ran the Century Wheel. My first day there, we were disassembling the Century Wheel. It's like a Ferris wheel, and it folds like into a truck, but you gotta get all the poles loose. And my boss said, Shane, you see this pole, and he's way up top. He's like, I'm gonna drop this. When I drop this, you grab it. That's it. And you know what you're gonna do? When I drop it, grab it. Yeah, so he did. When that pole was coming down, I reached out, and I grabbed it. Everybody got all excited, and I was like, why is everybody all excited? He said, Shane, no one has ever caught the pole. I'm the only one that ain't got no common sense to have reached out. Everybody else ran. These are good moments, though.
Did you travel with that Carnival?
I did that from Kansas to Tennessee. Then I got off of it because I'm just not a carny really. But the night I got off the Carnival, I went down to the Greyhound. Some guy taps me on my back and was like, I know you do acid. And I'm like, yeah, I do, And he gave me some acid. Well, I'm tripping this acid on the Greyhound bus, and it really starts kicking in. And then I'm like, oh my God, when we stop off in Little Rock in Arkansas, I see a cop. It's a security guard. It ain't a cop. To me, it's a cop. And I know that he knows that I know that I'm on it. And I know that
that's what happens, right?
If he talks to me, I'm going to jail forever.
Yeah, you make up this big story.
So as he's coming towards the bus, I just, boom, I take a left. And I don't get back on the bus. It was just a layover for a second. So now I'm stuck in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I gotta get a new Greyhound ticket. So the next day, after I come off the acid, I go down to the Doubletree. I go down to the day labor that next day. So as I'm down there at the day labor, they say if you get some khakis, you can go to the Doubletree Hotel, make you some money doing the banquet. And I'm like, great. Well, I don't know what's fixing to happen. I go down to the Doubletree Hotel. This lady's like, after the president gets you talking, after the president gets you talking, after the president. And I'm like, Bill Clinton is from Little Rock, right? And I'm like, what do you mean, the president? She goes, President Bill Clinton, he's giving a speech. And I'm like, you mean to tell me President Bill Clinton's behind that wall? She's like, yes, President Bill Clinton. And I was like, well, I want him to see the president. You're not going to get to see the president. You don't do that we don't go in there till after he gets his speech, and he'll be gone. But I said, if you're telling me President Bill behind that wall giving a speech right now, I'd like to see that. And she said, you ain't never seen Bill Clinton? Well, they're from Little Rock. That's what he's from. I'm not from Little Rock.
They see him.
And I said, nah. She said, you hold on one second. So she went in there. Next thing I know, she opens that door and tells me to come on in. And there I was standing in front of Bill Clinton, watching him give a speech. And it's kind of amazing. I never set out that day, ever, to be seeing Bill Clinton. Never would have found him. You never know what's around the corner.
That's right. You never know what's going to happen. And
yeah.
If you're open to going down those roads.
Yeah. All that was just by making a decision to get off the Carnival.
Yeah.
But that guy never would have touched me on my shoulder and give me the acid. I never would have been in Little Rock, period.
Yeah, you could go on.
I just would have kept going.
Keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
Both ways, from the past and the future.
Yeah.
You never know. Well,
there's a lot of cool little stories back then,
Yeah. Well, let's see. And, during this time, so you came back to Seattle at some point?
Yeah, I'm back and forth for many years.
Kept going. Many years.
Seattle was the rock capital of the United States. I wanted to be a part of that Eddie Vedder, Nirvana, Soundgarden, and Alice in Chains and all that. Seattle was really cool back then. So when I'd leave, I'd come up here and I'd get to doing my thing, and then Seattle would be very fast, and I'd want to get away from it. But when I was gone, I was always thinking about it, and then I'd have to get back here.
Yeah, something drew you back to Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really amazing town for sure. A lot of amazing music, a lot of amazing artists.
This has got a lot of history. Toughest man ever lived here, Bruce Lee. You know what I mean?
I mean, Jimi Hendrix is here.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix, you know.
Right.
Heart.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, Seattle's got great history, a lot of history.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to find all this Bigfoot pictures and Bigfoot?
The Sasquatch. It's true. That's true.
They say got the every time we would go to Union Gospel Mission to eat back then, they always serve you salmon. This is the number one salmon port in the country. The whole building smelled like salmon. It was gross.
But you still ate it.
Yeah. That's what they fed the homeless people back then. Salmon, 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 salmon.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah, salmon in the morning, salmon in the evening.
Well, so speaking of homelessness, you kind of have been on and off streets for a long time.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah, I guess as a young kid, I seen this, you know, having a hard time in school, and I could see this coming.
For yourself, you mean?
Yeah. I was always like last when it comes to like reading and writing and science and stuff. Like I couldn't keep my mind focused on that stuff. And just even being in a classroom gave me high anxiety. People say I smile all the time. Well, I smile a lot I can remember when it started. It was like the first grade, the teacher asked me to read. Well, I couldn't read, right? And when I started to read, the whole class started laughing at me. I was so embarrassed, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to cry, but you can't cry in front of them. So what do? I smile.
Yeah.
I smile when I'm confused.
Yeah.
So a lot of they say that smile, it's not necessarily that I'm happy. It's just
Well, it's almost like a protection, or you've heard the term nervous laughter.
Yes.
When people get nervous, they laugh.
It is.
It's something like that. That people it's a response that they do.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
And that's what you are saying that you do.
Yeah.
Because I see you a lot, and you seem, I would say, from the outside, happy. And I don't know if you are in the inside or not.
Yeah. Just smile. I don't smile when I'm confused, but I am happy a lot.
Yeah.
I'm in control of my thoughts. No one can, in this light, no one can take it. It was never theirs to take. And I keep it, and I thank Jesus Christ. Amen. He's the light of the world. Whoever follows him shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. And I'm to let my light shine before men. They see me in good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. See, going through jail all them times, I was picking up my Bible. Them was the words of life. Anytime I need strength, I go to remembrance, them words. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
So it sounds like you're still pretty religious.
Yeah.
If you call it religious.
I don't call it religious.
Spiritual, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Well, you still talk to your siblings?
No, none of us talk to each other. It's sad. I would love for that. I tried to get that. They didn't want that.
And where are they? Oklahoma, here?
Here, Oklahoma, and here, and
Yeah.
everywhere. I haven't seen them I haven't seen anybody in my family in probably 5-6 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you go crazy a little bit like that. When the years start stacking up, I wonder what they're like. I miss them.
Because you have nieces and nephews and...
Yeah, I miss them.
Yeah.
But this was this is what they want. Their fear keeps me at bay. See, to see me is a reminder of things they said to me that weren't true and weren't right about each other and mother and father. So when I'm just a big old reminder of where they went wrong. I don't bring up the past, but they would. See, we're not to fear things. The Bible says fear doesn't come from God. The only thing we're supposed to fear is God. That is the beginning of all wisdom. But fears of, you're not even to fear your life. It'd be better to pass on and go be with your Father than to be here. This is not your home. Don't get comfortable. That's why life is quick.
Yeah.
If this was your home, you'd probably have a longer lifespan. You're here for only a second.
Yeah.
Eternity.
It's quick, man. It's quick.
Yeah.
It's gonna be quick.
We grow old to get better. I believe I have. You don't want to see an older person. You see an older person all bitter, mad, and angry. Well, that's a sad. Because you only got a few more years left here. Why are you going to spend them last years mad at something that happened 4 decades ago.
Yeah, who knows, right? Well, let's talk about your current situation. Where are you staying?
At the Union Gospel Mission. I got in there like 5 days ago.
Oh.
But I'd been on the streets, and I'm going back to the street. I'm still on the streets, really. It's just a Union Gospel Mission. It's only a 30-day thing.
Oh, it's a temporary thing.
Yeah, I'm still homeless.
Yeah. Now they have a. Well, let's see. I guess before that, where were you staying?
I was in a tent. Yeah, here in Seattle.
Gotcha.
I quit moving all over the country and stuff. I had gotten that on my system, you know.
Yeah.
Been to LA and Vegas about 20,000 times, you know. It gets old. You can't keep doing that forever. I wanted to set my roots right here, but I'm having a little struggle. I'm trying to get it going and do it.
But with the Union Gospel Mission, isn't it like is it a program?
They got, for 30 days you can be on the homeless side, and after that you can join their program.
And that's like, what's the program about? Like,
it's like, I think a year,
like that?
But getting you back into working and saving your money, and I don't know exactly about everything, but it's about serving the Lord and stuff like that. Getting you back to living like a normal person, you know. Probably a 4-hour job at first, and then an 8-hour day.
And does that interest you?
Yeah, it does, but you know, I like my freedom too. I owe nobody nothing. I'm at zero, and that's a good place to be. I'm not in debt, financially. I don't have to be anywhere right now, you know, so I don't have anyone to report to. Yet I have nothing, but I possess everything. I got freedom.
Yeah, there's a cost to, I mean, it's pros and cons to everything.
Exactly.
And if you're gonna live in a home, you gotta pay bills, you gotta work.
I don't have them worries.
Yeah, so
but yes, I do have worries of freezing to death.
Yeah, yes, and you have different worries.
Yeah.
That's a big worry. Yeah.
But like the bills and stuff like that, like in my early 20s, I did do that. I paid my bills and had apartments and cars and stuff.
And all that stuff.
And it's just like never enough, never enough.
And it never ends, man.
And your money goes out the window like salad.
It's never.
It'd be better just to buy you whatever you're gonna, and it's yours, than to pay somebody.
Well, if you can afford it, if you can.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, Seattle is expensive.
The most expensive place in the country.
A lot of people are struggling.
It's the most beautiful place in the country.
It's beautiful, yes.
But it's one of the most unhappiest people in the country. Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
See, you can put somebody in the most beautiful place, but you can't change what's in their heart. They can only do that.
Well, it's not about, the exterior, right? What's inside.
And it's kind of a ripple effect of people being pompous and cocky and mean to each other. Well, you know, people have accepted that as normal or whatever, you know. In Oklahoma, if you say hello to somebody or wave to somebody, they're going to wave and hello you back. You say that up here, they're going to be like, you weirdo.
Well, that
like, what are you doing?
That kind of leads me into my kind of final question that I like to ask is, Stan, is there anything that you would want the people of Seattle to know?
Seattle to know? Yeah, I mean, as far as, remember where you came from. Remember what you were about when you was a child. You were about love, right? And without love, it becomes a very, very dark, hard place, you know? Our children are the most important thing to us. I think we need to show love to each other so they, later on, will be able to show love like we did. If all they see is people shining each other in ugliness, what are we to become in our future? You know, a person is a product of where they came from or whatever. They are what they see when they're being molded up to. We gotta press more love and caring and kindness than all this, you know, you got $1 for this, you got $1 for that. I'll give you this, but you got something for me. That's not the way to think, you know? This isn't the way to think at all. You know, like I said, a person could tell me no and I'll still be their friend. You know what I mean? That's that light. It's, you know, they can't take that away from me.
Right. Awesome, Stan. Good to chat. And
thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, man.
All right.
Oh.